The whole bar fell silent in a single sharp breath, as fabric tore and an ordinary moment twisted into something no one had expected. Glasses stopped midair, laughter cut short, and even the jukebox seemed to choke on its song. In a place where shouting and clinking bottles never stopped, that sudden stillness felt louder than any sound the room had ever known. Time stretched thin, heavy with tension, as every eye turned toward the same frozen scene. If you believe stories of pain can become stories of healing, and that even broken moments can lead to second chances, then take a second right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to this channel, because what happened next changed lives forever. It was supposed to be just another late night at the highway bar, the kind of place where truckers, bikers, and tired souls stopped to wash down their loneliness. The waitress had already been working a double shift, her shoulders aching and her feet numb inside worn shoes. She moved calmly between tables, her expression practiced into something neutral and quiet. Most people didn't even see her as a person, just a background figure in a life they barely cared about. But she had a life. A heavy one. A life packed with survival, sacrifice, and a silent kind of courage. Then the biker walked in. He was the kind of man people noticed instantly, tall, broad-shouldered, covered in ink and road dust, carrying the weight of a hard life in his eyes. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He sat down like a storm settling into a chair, his presence casting a long shadow across the wooden floor. Some of the regulars watched carefully. He wasn't just another rider. There was anger in his posture. Something raw and coiled beneath his skin. When the waitress approached to take his order, tension followed her like a second heartbeat. She spoke gently, the same way she always did, asking what he wanted. But something about the night, the drink, the memories behind his eyes, something made him snap. His hand moved without thinking, catching the fabric of her uniform as he stood too fast, his grip too tight, and the sound of tearing cloth cut through the air like a warning. Gasps filled the room. The manager shouted her name. Chairs scraped back. In that brief, stunned moment, the waitress didn't scream. She didn't collapse. She just looked down, her breath trembling, as part of her uniform hung torn. But what was revealed wasn't something scandalous or shameful. It was a mark. A deep, faded scar, stretching across her collarbone and shoulder. Next to it, an ink symbol, worn, imperfect, but powerful. It was the symbol of a biker's rescue foundation, one that had dissolved years ago after a tragic hit-and-run incident involving one of their own. A symbol many in the room recognized. A symbol tied to a night that had changed everything. The biker saw it too. The fire in his eyes vanished. His face went pale, then empty, as if a ghost had reached out and placed its hands around his throat. Around him, murmurs spread as people recognized the sign. That mark belonged to the girl who had pulled a wounded biker from a burning motorcycle wreck on an empty road 6 years ago. The girl who had dragged a grown man to safety while her own body took the heat, the glass, the fire. The girl who vanished before paramedics arrived. He had been that biker. And he had never seen her face. Until now. The waitress slowly lifted her eyes to him, and this time, there was no fear in them. Only a quiet, exhausted recognition. She had known this moment would eventually come. Every mile of road had carried his memory. Every scar on her body had carried his name without him ever knowing it. While he had recovered and returned to the road, she had lost her home, her savings, her sense of safety in the world. Medical bills buried her life. No family had come to claim her struggle. No one had ever said thank you. This job, this forgotten town, this sleepless routine, it was all that had been left. For a long moment, no one moved. Not the customers. Not the bartender. Not even the biker whose hand still trembled midair. The man who had once ridden through storms and danger now looked like a child standing in front of an unpayable debt. He released the fabric instantly, stepping back as if burned by his own actions. Something in him broke. Not loudly. Not dramatically. It broke inward, the kind of break that makes a man start breathing again after years of being numb. He sank into the chair, voice barely a whisper, eyes locked on that scar that had once saved his life. Around them, the bar no longer felt like a place of noise. It felt like a church. A courtroom. A memory frozen in time. The waitress didn't cry. She simply reached up and held the fabric together again, her fingers shaking just slightly now. And in that movement, the biker saw all the years she had carried alone. All the nights no one asked if she was okay. All the mornings she forced herself back onto her feet because no one else would carry her. Something shifted in that room. The manager stepped forward first, offering her a jacket. A customer at the back wiped away tears he didn't realize were falling. Even the bartender bowed his head. People began to realize she wasn't just a waitress. She was a survivor. A hero no one celebrated. A strength no one honored. And the biker, the same one everyone had feared, stood up slowly and knelt in front of her. Not as a man begging forgiveness, but as a life recognizing the person who had given it another chance. From that night on, everything changed. The biker returned, not with anger, but with support. He helped pay her medical debts. He helped her find a place to live where fear didn't cling to the walls. He gathered other riders, other survivors, and rebuilt the very foundation whose mark was burned into her skin. The one that had disappeared into memory now rose again, stronger than ever, dedicated to rescuing the unseen, protecting the forgotten, and honoring quiet heroes. Weeks turned into months, and that broken moment became the beginning of a new kind of family. Before this story reaches its final breath, comment below one word that this story made you feel: hope, pain, strength, faith, love, or healing. Let your voice be part of this ending. Years later, people would come to that same bar not just for drinks, but for inspiration. They came to see the woman whose broken shirt revealed not weakness, but legend. They came to see the biker who learned that true strength is not in fists or fear, but in humility and gratitude. They came to remember that in the most unexpected moment, a soul can recognize another across the wreckage of time.